And welcome back to Inside Hoopsteria. Today we're talking about the last 4 games remaining in the Grade 8. We'll be previewing those games and what we should expect in tonight's action. And so let's go ahead, let's jump into the Hoopsteria bracket and take a look here at the Midwest region. That is going to be the first game of the day. We have Illinois versus Xavier. And so let's start with Illinois, what we should be looking for from them and what are the things that really could lead to them going home here. And so let's start with the things that they have done very well. And so this team has had a nice 1-2 punch. And I think that it starts with D'Angelo Jordan. I think that he's been really fantastic for Illinois. His ability to score the basketball has been on display throughout the 3 games that they played in this tournament. He had 25 points in game 1. He had 20 in game 3. And then in game 2, even though he didn't have as many points, he still had a double-double in that game. And so he was spectacular really throughout the tournament here for Illinois thus far. And then his running mate, it's been Towns Romanowski. I think that he's been terrific as far as owning the boards. And I think that that type of physicality has really given Illinois a bit of an edge between these two. And so these guys have been, again, fantastic for Illinois. And so when you look at this team and just the way that they do things offensively, this is a team that has scored 70 points in 2 of their 3 games out there. And so they've done a great job as far as putting points on the board. And I think that when you start to look at the concern with Illinois, it really starts with the fact that they haven't shot the 3 ball very well. I think that when you look at just what they've done over the 3 games, they just have not really gotten to a good rhythm there. They've been under 40% in each of those games. And in fact, one game, they actually shot 23% here. And so I just think if they're going to advance against Xavier, which is a very good defensive team, they're going to have to score on Xavier in some bunches. And that means that you're going to have to knock down some 3-point shots here. And another thing that scares me with Illinois here is that this is a team through its first 3 games, they have not gone to the free throw line more than 9 times. And so that means that you're relying a lot on your jump shooting, you're relying a lot on your down screens and things like that, and things being really open. And so I think that this team is going to be tested today in a very physical matchup against Xavier. So I think that Illinois is going to have to find a way to get to the free throw line. And so next, let's go ahead. Let's take a look here at Xavier. And I think that, look, Xavier, to me, if you like defense, then you have got to like Xavier. I really love what Coach Sean Miller has done with this team. They're just a gritty bunch. And this might be really one of the grittiest teams left out there in the tournament. And so with them, I think that that's point number 1. Defensively, you're going to see a team that is going to get after it. Next, I'm very impressed with what I'm seeing from DeMarco Nesbitt. I think that he's done a terrific job for this team. He's not a player that you're going to look at these stats and say, oh my goodness, he scored 25, 30, 40 or anything like that. But he has been the leader for this team offensively. And so that has got to continue on in tonight's game. And next, when we start to look at the things that would be concerning with Xavier, it starts with the fact that this is a team that has not been putting up really more than 50 points a game. In fact, look, they scored 54 and 56 points in wins there. And so I think that for tonight, they're going to have to step it up because we just talked about how Illinois can get the points in abundance, but defensively, Xavier is going to have a say in that. So I just think that you don't have to necessarily get into the 70s and 80s if you want to make this the type of game where it's played in the mud, but Xavier is going to have to be able to score the basketball at some point in time. And so I will throw this added bonus out there with Xavier here. They've held teams to 30% from the field. Okay, so that is spectacular defense. And so I just want to leave everybody with that note. Xavier is going to play some defense. And so next, let's go ahead. Let's jump into the bracket here and let's take a look at the last game of the night and just the game that I am super excited to see here. And I think a lot of fans here in SimWorld are excited to see them here. And that's going to be over in the West region, you have UCLA versus San Diego State. I think that this game is going to be fantastic, not taking anything away from Illinois and Xavier. I think that that's going to be great. But I just think the star power here, I think a lot of fans are going to be tuned in here. So let's go ahead. Let's start with San Diego and just really, the things that they do well and really what would be concerning for them moving forward. So I think for them, I think it starts here with LT. I think that Lucina Chorhori has done very well. And hopefully I said his name right, probably butchered it. But my man has been great for this team. I think that he's playing fabulous as a scorer. And I just love the fact that he's scoring the basketball from deep. He's getting to the mid-range. He's getting to also to the layup package as well. And so he's really showing how deep offensively his bag is. And so he's been terrific there. And then Jod Plods has been terrific too. I think that he's been a player that, again, he's not going to score like in bunches or anything like that, but it's just been timely scores for this team. And I think he's been huge. And so they have a nice 1-2 punch there. And then when you look at just what they were able to do against the Zags there, that was a tight basketball game in which it really, they didn't get past 82 or 71 points like they did prior games there. And so I think that that's probably going to be the concerning part, I think, for San Diego State, that if the offense slows down, which is it's possible in this game, but that is one of the weaknesses for them. I think that if you can slow them down, you really put them into a tough situation here. And as far as like their percentages and things like that, they've been held under 50%. And so when that happens, they can be beatable. And so that's what I've got here. They shot just 35% against the Zags there. And the Zags almost won that game. I mean, literally, I felt like they should have went to Caden Ship personally if the Zags, or if I was coaching the Zags there in that game, and maybe that would have been a different outcome. But in that game, they only shot 35%. And so it just shows me that if you can take them under 50%, slow San Diego State down, you really have a chance to win against them. And so I think that that's the thing to watch for in tonight's game. Next, let's go over here to UCLA. And I think that, look, it continues here because I think if you could put an overall theme on this game, it's going to be the duos, right? So we talked about two players that are going to be good with San Diego State. Now you look at UCLA, you have Jalen Snow, and then you also have LaGerald Carroll. Both of these guys are going to fill it up. They've been stars. They've been carrying UCLA. And yes, there have been other players that have absolutely just put in for this team to get to this point. But those two have absolutely led the way here. And so I think for them, UCLA has scored a ton of points in all their games. And they've done that. But when you look at their opponents, they've also scored. And so this is where I worry about UCLA, because at some point, there's going to be a team that can defend them a little bit more tougher, and they're also going to be able to score too. And so I think that, look, UCLA, you can't allow your opponent to just score at will. And I think that because they're able to go on these runs and score at bunches and stuff like that, they kind of get away from opponents like that. And so I don't know if that happens here with San Diego State, because San Diego State can score with them. Can UCLA really defend enough to slow down San Diego State? I think that that's going to be huge here. And then next, for UCLA, it's a team that's been turnover prone. I think that when you go back, you look at their 3 games, they're turnover happy. And so this is a team that they can really hurt themselves at times. This is where a team like San Diego State, who can score in bunches as well, they can take advantage of your mistakes. And so UCLA very much can beat themselves. So they're going to have to get away from that. We've already talked about the defense. Like I said, it's in question. The offense we know is absolutely fantastic for them. And again, when you look back through the 3 games of the tournament, all the opponents that played UCLA really shot some great percentages there. They just didn't have enough, offense to get past UCLA, and defensively, they just couldn't slow them down just that much. And so next, that's pretty much it for the day. Just wanted to go ahead and talk about those 2 games coming up here today. But I guess next is you guys let me know what you guys are thinking about this particular set of games here today Who do you think is going to win? Is it going to be UCLA? Do you feel like that it is going to be San Diego State that is going to pull it out? And then also, too, with the earlier game, which I said, I think it's going to be really a defensive battle. Do you feel like it's going to be Illinois? Do you feel like it's going to be Xavier? You guys let me know. Look, the game is set to take place right now. So make sure that you stay locked in on the network. Make sure that you're engaged out there. And as we always say here in SimWorld, see the game and be the game. We will see you guys on the next one. All right. Peace.